Nature meets the city, and the city welcomes it. The sun, the infrequent rain, and the cold, dry Fiertho wind mark out a natural semi-desert landscape crossed by the water routes. The scarcity of rain, the salty soil, and overgrazing form a thin green wall which covers and perfumes the hills and the gypsum banks. The rear is occupied by characteristic valleys, smooth background valleys, carefully cultivated and held in place by walls and steep banks. The hills and the valleys make up the steppe, an original landscape rich in life forms which Zaragoza City Council protects as a unique asset of our natural heritage. A network of signed paths and walkways which provide access to and knowledge of these wild regions has been developed by the Life Zaragoza Natural Project. The geological structure of thick horizontal limestone strata gives these plains and outcrops their character. This topography is the legacy of old Miocene lakes which filled in the Ebro River depression. These are deforested lands, totally given over to the cultivation of dryland cereals. In the last few decades, wind turbines have been incorporated into the landscape to provide clean, renewable energy. On the ridge of the plains, where the abrupt topography makes crop production impossible, some pine woods grow. These are the last vestiges of the original covering of trees. One of the best conserved is the Gully of Las Almunias, whose headland begins the swooping descent onto the Zaragoza plain. Life Zaragoza Natural Project has undertaken restorations to improve the meeting point of this gully with the River Huerva. Another large area of Mediterranean forest is located in the Peñaflor Reserve. For the last few decades, Zaragoza City Council has looked after its hills and carried out various activities focused on protecting and developing this area of Zaragoza's green infrastructure, which will be overseen by the Life Zaragoza Natural Project. The border of the semi-arid steppe and the Ebro is highly spectacular upriver from Zaragoza. Next to the village of Alfocea, the river hits the outcrop of the bank of gypsum and undermines its foundations, causing massive rocks to fall right into the channel. The abrupt and unstable scarp collects a rich variety of wildlife specialised to the local conditions close to the water and the groves. Where the river enters Zaragoza city limits, the Ebro flows slowly and entertains itself, meandering before entering the city. The luminous sky and the dark groves paint a blue and green landscape over the brilliant layers of the river. The large flats are a mosaic of greens divided by irrigation ditches. The Ebro River has a basin of 40,000 square kilometres at the entrance to Zaragoza's city limits. The river channel is full of gravel banks and groves, channels which are used for agricultural activities. Into these channels, up to 40 cubic metres per second can flow during the dry season, increasing to 3,000 cubic metres per second when there are floods, which can happen every 10 years or so. The ordinary channel widens from 200 to 3,000 metres, and the water overflows all traces of the agricultural landscape. Thanks to these floods, the fields are periodically fertilised and the river water is replenished, but everything that stands in its path is swept away. The epidermis of the floodplain shows us the wounds which are opened up by the floods and which have turned this area into a series of unique natural paradises, such as the Galachov Huslibol, a remnant oxbow lake at the foot of a gypsum rocky scarp above which the steppes perch. The Oxbow Lake, created by a huge flood in 1961, is currently, thanks to the City Council's stewardship and publicity, a favourite spot from where to appreciate and enjoy natural surroundings. Nobody will forget the experience, and everybody is always charmed. Life Zaragoza Natural Project is developing a series of actions designed to restore the natural dynamic of the fluvial channel and its flood areas. Now the river can see the city, but it isn't in a hurry to get there. Before doing so, it takes a turn around the Parque del Agua, the water park, a door through which the city meets nature and nature makes its way into the city centre. The city wants to keep you waiting and lets itself be seen little by little. Just by the channel, arrow-shaped banks, the wall of tamarisks and willows where the water pushes up, the reeds and bulrushes where the water becomes calmer, and the mature groves of poplars, ash trees, clematis, hops and wild vines. Further in, the silver woods, the defence hillocks, the botanical gardens, the green filter, canals and water pools. Now we're in the city. Zaragoza looks towards the River Ebro and likes what it sees. From its banks, the city can be observed in all its splendour. The most cherished local symbols are reflected in its waters. The River Ebro becomes the spinal column of the Zaragoza green infrastructure. Then, the River Ebro meets the River Huerva, tucked away and hidden among the urban stretch. A demonstration project linked to Life Zaragoza Natural Project provides another meeting point by widening its channel, softening its banks, naturalising the vegetation and easing direct access to the sheet of water. The River Gallego, so called because it comes straight from Gallia, the Roman name for France, flows perpendicular, north to south, into the River Ebro. The River Gallego was treated very badly until the 1970s. The extraction of sand and gravel to be used in the construction of infrastructures and buildings threw the fluvial system into chaos, and industrial waste poisoned its waters. Conscious of this problem, as well as its natural potential to form a new axis within the local green route, the City Council has carried out an extensive programme of restoration with continuous corrective works from the village of Peñaflor as far as the mouth of the River Ebro. The natural beaches of sand and gravel rise in a rocky amphitheatre carved out by the River Gallego from its bordering terraced banks. Peña del Cuervo, a vivid landscape loved by the locals looking for leisure spots. The Life Zaragoza Natural Project is converting this spot into a place where local people can easily enjoy a meeting with the natural environment. Downriver river, the Urdan Reservoir, provides water for the irrigation ditches, depleting the accumulated erosion caused by the excessive extraction of gravels. The River Gallego flows into the River Ebro at the outskirts of the city. Its waters run parallel for hundreds of meters before merging into the same channel. This meeting point is a riot of birds twittering and flying, of water and riverside groves, which continues on the opposite shore into the grove of Cantalobos, the best fluvial forest right at the exit to the city. This location offers an impressive mixture of natural spaces together with the towers of the city still visible on the horizon. The concave bank of the meander was shored up with building work rubble, as this site gave a very poor impression and was almost unreachable. Life Zaragoza Natural Project took action on this stretch, getting rid of the rubbish and improving the landscape and access conditions. The place has become one of the best viewing spots from which to observe the city of Zaragoza and its water routes. Life Zaragoza Natural Project has noticeably improved the damaged shore of the left bank by eliminating and integrating the former jetty made of rubble. A wide path scattered with tree plantations makes this location one of the best places from which to enjoy the view towards the river and the groves, the bridges and the towers which make up the nearby city.